Hi, and welcome to Have You Made It, the podcast where I talk to Northern creatives about what they make and how they make it. Today's episode is with Edek Thompson, who is a self-described community artist based in Leeds. He's lived in Leeds for a very long time and he's from further north than that, from Scarborough. And it's a very inspiring conversation with somebody who literally does everything they possibly can for their local community. Edek is the facilitator for a community art initiative called Doodle Chat based in Leeds, where people can go and they create art together, and also it's a very open space for people to talk, and it's very inspiring. We talk about that, but we talk about loads of things actually in this episode. Talk about what it means to be a northern artist, what it means to be a part of a community, the struggles of trying to create something for your community when it comes to art. So we talk loads about funding, and it's actually very an educational podcast, I would say, if you are thinking about, how to get funding for something, or if you want to start organising your own events or your own community initiatives. I would definitely give this one a listen. Yeah, it's really interesting. And Edek is also a wonderful artist, and we talk a lot about his process and the types of things that he creates. A lot of it has a focus on the end of the world, which is really cool, really interesting. So yeah, it's a great episode. Before we get into this one, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has been listening. This is episode 6, and this is actually the last episode of the summer. So we're taking a little break. At the time of me recording this introduction, it's like mid-August. So yeah, we're taking a little break, but I already have a long list of people who would like to be on the podcast from September onwards. So please do get in contact if you would like to be on it. Just email us at hello@upnorf.co.uk. And yeah, I would love to chat to you. So here is episode 6 with Edek Thompson. Edek is a Leeds-based community artist who paints fun yet unsettling visions of a future filled with mutations and strange adaptation. His artwork builds a future mythology, documenting and reimagining the familiar in preparation for its potential disappearance. Sustainability and accessibility are central to his practice, and what began as a way to process his climate anxiety has evolved into a broader exploration of mental health, chronic pain, grief, and the need for supportive, nurturing communities. Edek is also the founder and facilitator of Doodle Chat CIC, which provides relaxed social groups for all to, as the name says, doodle and chat, a safe space to talk, listen, provide an opportunity to be social and prioritise well-being while making art. So I'd like to welcome Edek Thompson.
Hey.
Hi Edek, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank you so much for coming on to chat with me today.
Pleasure.
We've been chatting back and forth, as you've already done a little natter with for us like a few months ago or something now. So you were at the very beginnings of us starting up north. So really appreciate you wanting to come and chat more with us. And I find your work very interesting. So I'm very excited to get into it.
Hey, thanks very much. Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's all right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you've got so much that you're doing right now, but I would love to start with how you got started with creating and making art, like where this whole journey started for you.
Yeah, I mean, like if we're going right back to the very beginning, to the start, like as a kid,
Yeah.
growing up in Scarborough, like I was very lucky, like I was surrounded by creativity at home. So like, my mum making our clothes, knitting, sewing, doing calligraphy, like all sorts of creative stuff. My dad, painter and decorator, but we'd be sitting and watching him sign writing in the garage, proper specialist techniques and stuff like that. But like creativity was just always encouraged in the house. Like there was always stuff to draw with and stuff to paint with. And yeah, so like from there, and yeah, for me, kind of like that artistic journey from creative child to creative adult child. It's just kind of like it's just been an ongoing thing where creativity's always been there, like in my life, no matter what I've been doing. Yeah, there's like a few kind of like side steps and stuff, but
I feel like a lot of artists' journeys start like that, and sometimes you don't even realise it as you like moving through the artistic journey. Like you just said, a lot of the creativity in your household growing up was quite hands-on. Like your mum like sewing and use it to a lot of things with like materials, and some of your work now you like use different materials and you find things and make a use for them. So it sounds like that concept growing up of your mum doing things like that has made its way into your work now?
I mean, yeah. I kind of often look at it as just being thrifty. Like, I'm from Yorkshire. We don't spend money. So, like, if I can do anything for free, I will do. So, yeah. Just finding art materials on the street or like wherever you do. Yeah, definitely has kind of stayed with me. But it's to say, like, it's growing up in like the house I grew up in. Like, my parents didn't have a lot of money. So,
Mm.
and they had like three boys. So, like, yeah, making clothing was just normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, like kind of that, yeah, being economical with what you have.
Hmm.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, that makes
that's
total
kind of always
sense.
stuck with me.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of your work now is focused on climate and that eco sense of things. So I guess that's kind of always been in your as part of you as you've grown up with that like sense of being from Yorkshire and being thrifty and not having a lot of money like growing up. Like it's kind of always been that way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like becoming a lot more conscious of like climate sustainability, like talking about like the impacts of our actions on the earth. Like that's something
Hmm.
that is a lot more conscious in my work now than it was just a few years ago. Like understanding and like not being afraid of your voice and being able, talking up when you really should about the things that are really important. Yeah, that's something kind of over the last few years that has really taken shape, and I'm like starting to understand that and kind of learning to, not being afraid of my own opinions. And
So a few years ago, what kind of art were you making?
I mean, weird animals still, like I was still sticking animals together, definitely, but like, without, I guess, like without the understanding of kind of what it meant so much. And then, yeah, becoming more conscious of like the existential threat that we're facing and, that we're kind of marching very knowingly into a climate catastrophe has kind of brought a bit more urgency to the work, but a bit more understanding of kind of how working from my own reference materials. So I take all my own photographs of the animals that I'm drawing, like how these things that we're surrounded by that are ubiquitous. Pigeons are in cities, they're everywhere, they're really easy to photograph. That's why they're in my artwork. Like ducks, I walk up and down the canal, so I see ducks and they tend not to run away. So like you can get pictures of them, but like, what is are they going to be here in 100 years' time? Like, or if like in the future, we're living on a scorched earth, and probably not me. I'll have gone by then, hopefully. But future generations are living on a scorched earth, and they find a textbook with the words pigeons in it. Like, how are they going to imagine what birds were? Why wouldn't birds have long legs for walking on the ground? Because these people have never seen a tree.
Yeah, it's quite mind blowing actually. When you really get into it, it does kind of blow your mind.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. I mean, I was just chatting to someone yesterday. Like, I drew a picture of I've been drawing a lot of ducks on fire recently, and like they look fun. And I made a picture, and it's got Flame Club on it, like this post-apocalyptic faction. But a lot of it is kind of like really sad and post-apocalyptic jokes. Like ducks shouldn't be on fire, and dogs shouldn't have to grow duck feet in order to like swim in a flooded earth. But yeah, like. Yeah, I think there's like something of an element of a joke in there a lot of the time because, like, yeah, otherwise it's just terribly sad.
Yeah. Also, you are a Yorkshireman, and you
I
do
mean,
that. I
yeah,
feel
there's
like the
that as well.
Yorkshire sense of humour is that as well. We take the mick out of ourselves, and also you kind of have to also
Yeah,
bring humour to the situation. Before we get into more about your work and like your studio and the things that you're up to now, I'd love to know about your transition from living in Scarborough and being in Scarborough and now moving to Leeds and why that happened. Like, did you study in Leeds? Because that's usually the case of a lot of artists that I speak to. If they're in Leeds and not from there, it's like, oh, I studied here and fell in love and never left. Like,
yeah,
that's usually the kind of thing that happens.
yeah. I mean, like, I'm looking into kind of doing some projects in Scarborough again and like doing some stuff over there. But like, I wanted to leave Scarborough as a teenager.
Hmm.
Like for me, growing up there wasn't particularly enjoyable. I grew up in Scarborough in the 90s, and like I grew up in a very violent town. drugs were rife, like kids committing suicide at school, ODing, that kind of thing is what
Wow.
I grew up with. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to be away from it. It was
Yeah.
like horrendous. Even like the skate scene, the surf scene, the graffiti scene were incredibly kind of like, it's like gangland. It was weird. Like skaters
Yeah.
weren't allowed to like rollerbladers, weren't allowed to like surfers. We all had to fight each other all the time. You're just like, what is this mad small town mentality? And I also grew up with like my grandmother's Sephardi Jewish immigrant from Egypt, so there was the undertone of kind of racism even through kind of members of my own family and stuff like that. Scarborough often felt like it was surrounded by, and like there was undertones of violence and hatred there. So like, as soon as I could get out, I did. Yeah, I went to uni in Leeds, studied fine art, graduated in 2003. But yeah, like you say, I found a space where I was a little more anonymous. Um, and I found people that were nice and kind and, you know, stuck around in Leeds because of that. On the very first day of uni, I made a couple of friends. One of them asked us, "Are we going to be friends?" And we all said yes. And we're still friends, like
Oh, I love that.
25 years ago.
Yeah, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
Leeds does have that effect on people, I think. I went to uni in Leeds as well. It's still now a city that I have friends in and love to go and
Yeah.
visit. There is something about it because it's like a because it's not a massive city like in terms of its like expanse, like the actual city centre part of it. And then like the
Yeah.
suburbs, some of them are like a little bit like spread out. There's like the like Chapel Alton kind of side, and then like the Keg.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're all kind of spread out, but at the same
Yeah, like
time, it's quite
you
like
can
a
still walk it all as well, which I really like. So like
yeah.
for me, like an hour's walk is anything up to an hour, that's walkable. I don't mind where I'm walking. Like I'm in Hyde Park, and Hyde Park is what it's always been. Like when I lived here 20 years ago, like yeah, it's covered in litter and graffiti, and you can watch the little drug dealers kind of scooting by on their scooters and electric bikes. But actually, there's also like the permanent residents and like a real sense of community once you get into it and once you put the effort in. Yeah, people come and talk to you. Like it is a friendly neighborhood. It looks a bit rough around the edges, but like I said, from Scarborough, like I can't live anywhere too polished. It'd
Yeah.
just be weird. I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. It's interesting what you say about making the effort. Do you think that's essential for a community? Like, I feel like there's always this word community, and you would kind of expect that it's just going to happen naturally. Like, you're just going to move somewhere that's got a nice community, and you're just going to be a part of it. But do you think effort is important? Like, you have to actually get out of your comfort zone and
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't be part of a community if you don't go and talk to people that are in that community. There's little bits of effort that you can make. And I'm fully embedded in this community now as somebody that runs community groups here and has been doing for the last few years. But I mean, you don't have to make that much effort. That's all right. Like, you could just come and join a community group that's already ongoing. But, like, you do have to go and find the things that are happening around you. So, like, you can live in Hyde Park and not interact with any of it, or you can go and find the different community centres and different community groups and be part of that. And, just as a participant, just as somebody that drops in to say hello to stuff. But yeah, there is effort involved in community and being part of a community. It's not
yeah,
just going to like happen around you and suddenly you feel that way. Like if you don't say hello to your neighbors, don't expect them to say hello to you.
yeah,
It,
exactly.
it can be very small effort, little things.
Yeah, for sure. So when I asked you to send me a bio and like asked you if you had like a title or something that you relate to, you came
Mm.
back with community artist, like not just
Yeah, yeah.
artist, like it was community artist. So explain that to me. Why do you identify with the that as a title rather than just artist?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think it can be a bit odd because I have a studio and I go and work in there on my own. But the rest of the time I'm not doing that. And like, so, I run Doodle Chat community groups. These are creative well-being spaces to come and do art, do things that are good for you. But yeah, like the focus there is community connection, but it is art, and I'm facilitating that. I'm facilitating people making art and getting involved in it. People that have never done it before. starting an artistic journey. But also, like, all the work I make in my studio is like there's elements of that community and the doodle chat stuff that feed into it. Like, they're no longer separate. So everything I make in my studio is kind of what backs me up as an artist and facilitator for the groups that I do in public. But also when I run my Apocalypse Remix shows, like, these are shows that start out with just my work in it, but I introduce people, like, not introduce, invite people to come in and work alongside me in the gallery spaces, learn how I make work, use the same materials I do, create work and add it to the exhibition. So even, like, something like a solo show then becomes a community show. Like, I'm not interested in the idea of gatekeeping or like specially selecting people for things to come in and be part of the art. Like, it's for everyone. I'm very interested in like making accessible, safe and inclusive spaces for everyone. So like, when we go back to the work in the studio, there's a reason that it's funny, and that kind of funniness means somebody can walk up to it, look at it as a surface and laugh at it without any further engagement. I kind of like, I don't want the work to be something that is so contextual that it's unreachable for a lot of people. Like, if you see a picture of a dog with duck feet, it tends to make you laugh. It makes children laugh a lot. But yeah, at the same time, there's then opportunity to engage with it further, to learn how to make it, and then exhibit your own stuff in an exhibition alongside me. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
yeah,
sounds.
community in that sense, community artist in the sense that everything revolves around getting people involved.
I think it's such a great. I don't even know the word for it. I was going to say concept, then I was going to say initiative. I think it's just the way that you are and the way that you create. I think it's such a great way to be as an artist. Making things accessible is I think, so crucial. I mean, I understand that some people don't, or maybe the way they create isn't part of what's like important for them. But yeah, I think it's amazing that you do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, still, like, my studio days, it's still kind of like locked away, headphones on, because I do so much like in the community groups and like take on so much in those sessions. I still need time that's kind of away from that and time for myself, but there's no way of separating it anymore. Like, so much comes through like the conversations that I had, through the artwork that I'm watching people creating. Even now, like, all the clouds in my artwork are pastel drawings by one of my volunteers. He's just interested in sensory exploration, and it's amazing. He makes so much mess. It's brilliant, like piles and piles of ground down pastels. But yeah, all of these now like feed into my own artwork as well as like texture and surface. Yeah, I've started giving him credits in the socials posts as well. But yeah, there's like, despite kind of some of the like really kind of isolated time in the studio, and like that I choose to be isolated in there. Yeah, like that community element, you just can't get away from it, and I think it's really, for me, it's very important just to be engaged with people,
Mm,
like do things that are socially engaging.
yeah.
When I made the decision like 4 years ago to just become a full-time artist, I'd kind of like, I was like, I'm doing something for me. I'm just going to be an artist. But yeah, like very soon after that, I had a community group, and I was like, well, I should do that then as well.
Yeah. It's not just for you at all, actually, it's for literally everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
I was talking with another artist called Anastasia Tassou about this on an episode we released the other
Yeah.
day. And she was saying how it can actually be very lonely as a creative. Like, I think sometimes people assume that if you're a creative or an artist, like you have this like loads of creative people in your life and you're always like speaking to creative people. And for some people, especially in like small towns, that just isn't the case. Like, you might be
Uh,
like the only creative person. So I think these things are really important. And also, the last time some people probably experienced creating with other people around them was probably school, like in an
yeah.
art class. And if
Yeah.
you didn't then go on to like further study art or didn't choose to continue with any kind of like creative endeavor, then that was probably the last time you sat in a room with like a certain amount of people, even just like 5, 6, 7 people, and all just sat and drew together and like created something together. And that environment, I think, is actually fuels like a lot of creativity, like having other people around you.
Yeah. Like, you can't come away from it not being inspired. But yeah, there's like, so when I first started Doodle Chat, there was me sat around the table with four pensioners that I'd met through some workshops that I'd run previously. One of them is an artist, and the other three, I'm really bad at doing that bit of mathematics. 4 - 1 is 3. Yeah, they'd never done art before, like, or since school, and now they come. So they come every week. One of them walked into Leeds City Art Gallery about 6 weeks ago and said, "Can I have an exhibition?" Like, so just over the 2 years, like, his work's amazing. Like, he just sits and does these incredible automatic drawings. And yeah, like, yeah, from kind of not having that, from growing up and kind of feel like creativity and art has been seen as a luxury for so many people that is not for the working classes, is not for people that don't have money because we have to go out and work. And yeah, providing that kind of space, like, is really inspirational, seeing what people make. And like, especially in like Apocalypse Remix workshops as well, alongside the exhibition, like, people are weird and people make the strangest of things. Like, you look at my work and you think it's odd. It's not. It's tame in comparison to what, like, people that I feel like almost suppress creativity and need the permission to do something creative. Like, when it comes out, like, yeah,
What's
yeah.
what's like the weirdest thing you've seen? Like the craziest thing?
So yeah, God's quite so many weird things. Um, Something like one that's just popped up into mind from like the last Apocalypse remix was like, it's kind of like a rock, but an octopus of like impossible future beauty standards for a post-apocalyptic world. And I can't remember like fully what the picture was, but it was so strange.
That's all thanks to you, Edek. That's all
Yeah,
thanks to
yeah.
you.
I
You
love
pulled
that.
that out of
Like,
their
it became
brain.
like this weird advert to no one as well because everyone had been wiped out. Like, yeah, yeah, stuff like that that happens.
Wow, sounds great.
Yeah,
Sounds really good. Tell us about you just did like a big doodle chat. Is that literally what it was called?
big doodle. Yeah,
Big doodle. Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us about that because that's just happened, hasn't it, last week
That's
or
just
at the time
happened.
of
That
us
was a
talking?
fundraiser for our community group, so for Doodle Chat. So it is just essentially a big version of Doodle Chat, but on a Friday night. And whereas like in two of the Doodle Chat spaces, like, no cafe or bar, and in one of them there is a cafe and bar, but we kind of encourage people not to drink in Doodle Chats. On a Friday night, it's a totally different thing. So we take over the whole of this space, left bank in Hyde Park, and cover all the tables with paper. And yeah, the last few times we've done a big doodle, we've had about 80 people just sat around just drawing all over the tables essentially because they're covered in paper. So like, it differs a little from Doodle Chat where people often bring along their own projects and things to work on and kind of work more in parallel with each other. But yeah, Big Doodle is just people going mad all over the tables. And again, it's kind of like giving permission for grown-ups to have a bit of play and a bit of fun on a Friday night instead of just like going out and going to town and drinking. Yeah, do something creative, something fun, talk to strangers. Like, we actively encourage talking to strangers quite a lot. And yeah, yeah, big doodles, hey. But also, yeah, we did big art raffles. I had loads of local artists donate prizes, and yeah, we raised £744 for our GoFundMe,
Nice.
which is, yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
great. What has the fundraising situation been like with Doodle Chat? Obviously, you're a CIC. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it became a CIC in January because I was getting about 60 people a week across 3 sessions, and it kind of felt like it had just naturally grown and naturally progressed to the stage where kind of needed some other input from other people. So I've got some directors now that kind of all volunteer alongside myself, to chat to about stuff, to make plans, to network and things like that. Policies and procedures was another reason for becoming a CIC. Really boring stuff, but like, it's good to have risk assessments and insurance now because so many people come. Like, kind of got to be legitimate. But also, yeah, another reason for becoming a CIC was fundraising. So, in order to apply for funding, you kind of need to have a board of directors. You need to have policies, procedures, boring stuff like that. You need a bank account. So it was more of an administrative, bureaucratic decision, I guess, so that I could do fundraising and also like, be transparent about where money comes from and where it goes. So at the minute, I'm running the GoFundMe, and all of that money goes into the CIC bank account, and that money will be spent on paying the people that facilitate the sessions for the time that they facilitate the sessions. One of those people is me, because I need to pay myself for the work that I do. And I kind of like just wanted everything to be above board. But in terms of like actual funding applications and stuff like that, like we put in a few, we've done things like writing to businesses, writing to local councillors. But I also work alongside and I'm director for another CIC, which is called the High Rise Project, and they're based up in Armley. So the Tuesday Doodle Chat that I run is run alongside them. They have done all the funding applications for that, and we won funding for 2 years. That runs out at the middle of July, and once that funding runs out, that means that I have no income anymore. So part of doing the GoFundMe is to secure myself an income so I can continue doing community work, because if I have to go get a job in Aldi or somewhere, then I might not have time to do any of it. And now loads of people are dependent on it. But we, like, together with the High Rise Project, we put in like loads of funding applications, and it is just becoming more and more difficult to secure any funding. So we haven't been able to secure any funding at all for the future. With Doodle Chat, I have made the decision to not spend all of my time writing funding applications. So the GoFundMe gives us safety up until about the end of October now. But I'm also launching a commercial offering so that we can have an income which supports the community groups, because every funding application is 2 or 3 days work. That is unpaid work. That is time that you just have to take out of life, and you could be doing other things. It's not guaranteed income. You don't get to like take any of that money back in the future for all the work that you put in. But like, yeah, if you want to put in 10 funding applications, you're looking at like almost a month's worth of unpaid work just to do that for no guaranteed income. Yeah, for me and for Doodle Chat, I would much rather try and find a way of being sustainable and having an income. So another reason for being a CIC is I can sell services. So we could approach businesses, housing associations, people that have got money to spend on well-being. They can spend it on us coming in and doing the well-being for their staff, for their tenants, and then that money gets recycled into our community groups, which keeps them open and keeps them free.
Wow, it sounds so
Yeah.
intense. Like the funding process itself, like just doing funding once, like applying for funding once, I think, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, great. But like you say, there's just no guarantee. Then you've just got to do another one. It's relentless. It is
No,
relentless.
and like, I mean, even just trying to get feedback on it. Like, so many spaces now are going, no, we've had too many, we can't get feedback. So you're like, I can't learn. Like, it's, yeah, we would fund this, but we funded something else instead. You're like, there's no learning from that. There's no growing from that. It's just outrageous. Like, High Rise Project just put in one the other day, and I think there's 8 awards that are going to be awarded, and they had 750 applicants. Like that, I mean,
Wow.
that's like the state of funding at the minute.
So I think you said earlier that it's become much harder in more recent times to get funding.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's just with so many more people are applying for funding for things? Because
Yeah.
I mean, just as the state of what is happening in this country as a whole, probably is people need more community initiatives and more like
Yeah.
funded initiatives right now, because people are struggling and need support in this space. Also, people don't have money to go and do things, so like being able to do free things and go to community spaces is really important for people. But then also funding gets cut, so the need is increasing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what
absolutely.
is
So
actually there
yeah,
to
I mean,
apply
like
for
the
is
needs
decreasing.
increasing, but the pots are decreasing. So it's something like it used to be called Leeds Inspired, and it was from Leeds City Council. Last year, the award was £15,000. This year, it's 8. So they reduced the pot by £7,000. The application form isn't any easier. The monitoring and evaluating hasn't got any smaller, even though the pot's got smaller. But that also kind of means that's not a long-term project. When you start kind of putting budgets together for a project, £8,000 goes very quickly. It's not something that you can spread over a full year of kind of delivering community-based stuff. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's
what
not
can you do with
easy.
less than £1,000 per month? If you're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
make something last for a year,
yeah.
what can you do with that?
Not a lot. Like once you start looking into, I mean, even taking into account like transport support for people that come in. On our Tuesday sessions, we've had bus tickets for people, but a bus ticket is £6. So if you want 100 bus tickets over the year, that's 600 quid gone already. It's yeah, it's
Wait, it's
outrageous. Just little
six
costs like
pound for a
that.
bus.
Yeah, it's £6 for a day ticket in Leeds now. Yeah,
That is crazy. I think when I was at uni, I graduated in 2017 from
yeah,
uni. I was there for four, and I was there for 4 years. I'm sure it was like £2 for a day ticket
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like
It's
that.
like
And that
super
wasn't
cheap. There's
that
right
that
walk
long ago,
everywhere as
really.
well. Like walking is loads cheaper, but not everyone has that option.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So yeah, like the state of funding's really hard. Yeah, for me, and a lot of that is restricted funding as well. So
Mm,
you have to say what you're going to spend it on, and like you can't deviate from that. Like I would much rather that Doodle Chat has a bit more freedom. So if we have some extra money, we can start an extra group in a different area of Leeds. We wouldn't be restricted to one area and spending all that money in one area. Like we can move around, we could do pop-ups, we can do little events and stuff like that.
mm.
Which is, yeah, well, I've gone down GoFundMe route, but why I'm also going to like launch a commercial offering for it. That also gives us opportunity then to kind of like take on other creatives, train them as facilitators, get them
Yeah.
facilitating other sessions.
It
At the moment,
broadens your reach as well, doesn't it? It
yeah,
broadens your
yeah,
reach for people who maybe
yeah,
wouldn't attend a doodle chat right now, where it is like location wise, but also like the people who are attending. Like, I
yeah.
think it's a great idea, definitely.
That's it. Like it keeps growing. Like there's no reason you can't have 10 doodle chats happening on the same day in different areas of Leeds.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also it's opportunity for like 10 facilitators. We're taking on kind of artist professional development pathways is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I've done in the past. But yeah, taking somebody on as a volunteer, training them up to facilitate, them setting up their own groups, kind of starting their own networks, looking at their own ways of finding funding and stuff like that. I'm kind of well up for that. And that's something that we've started working on already. Yeah,
Wow, that sounds great. That sounds really
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. I need to share it all. Like, I need a successor at some point. Like, I'm still on this pathway to just being a selfish artist and painting pictures in my studio, but these things keep happening and getting in the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you need a protege, don't you? Some
Yeah, yeah,
proteges
definitely. We've got a few already. So, like,
are good.
yeah. It's building. Doodle Chat's taking over.
Wow. Well, it sounds very impressive. I'm definitely going to get myself to one time when we can make it over to Leeds. It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
great,
do
and
it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's loads
It
of
sounds
fun.
like you've got some great plans for it as well, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Things will happen, I think. Definitely.
You've mentioned your studio a few times,
Yep.
and your studio is in Assembly House. Am I
Yep.
right in saying that?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
good. So tell us about that, about what Assembly House is and how we found the place and what it's like working
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, Assembly House is like a big old factory, mill, building kind of thing. There's 67 artists up there. Yeah, the people that run it are like super friendly. They're artists, studio holders. They offer like a lot of support to creatives. So they supported me in writing like funding bids, applying for different opportunities and stuff like that. They share a lot. They, yeah, it's just a really amazing kind of space to be in. Yeah, a very supportive community and yeah, a nice place for yeah, like creativity and inspiration. There's always different artists in there doing different things that you can just chat to. And it's like
Yeah.
it's very open in terms of like if people want to visit, like just get in touch and yeah. It's also like all
People put
sorts of
exhibitions on there too, don't they?
yeah, there's an event space as well. Yeah, so there's one on at the minute, which yeah, should go up to.
Yeah, it sounds
But by the
great.
time this goes out, that exhibition will have gone now. So,
Maybe, I don't know. I can try and time it.
but yeah, like, yeah, if you get it out by tomorrow morning, it'd be all right.
Yeah.
I still get people, but yeah, that finishes tomorrow. That one. So, yeah.
Does
But
it?
yeah,
Oh well,
there
no,
is.
definitely not.
It's an event space up there, like people can hire it, but also, yeah, the artists that are in the studios can put on exhibitions in there, which is really nice.
It sounds great.
Good for like testing ideas as well.
Yeah, I bet. Because again, it's that concept of people being together, being able to. It's almost like an art school situation when you have your little studio, like talking to each
Yeah,
other, critiquing each other's work if you want, like doing crits and like
yeah,
just getting
yeah.
other people's opinions and thoughts. It's actually quite important to do that as an artist, I feel.
Yeah, because like, yeah, being at uni, it was good. Yeah, I sort of Leeds Met when it was Leeds Met and like graduated in three. And yeah, we just had like a studio space. Like you went in, there was a studio space, you made art in it. But like what we didn't get at that time was kind of what to do afterwards. So when you graduated, you lost your studio space. You didn't have a space to make art. If like me, like you worked all through uni, you just continued in whatever job you had. Yeah, that was it. So like having a space now and like so assembly are really amazing. So they do loads of stuff with the arts uni, with Leeds Art Gallery, but also kind of in the community in Armley as well. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of they do a lot of supporting the wider community and artists and like new graduates and stuff
Hmm.
kind of and helping people navigate like how to get involved in the art world.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about kind of being thrown out into the real world after having a studio for 3 or 4 years, depending
Mm,
what kind of course you did. My husband's an artist and he went to he studied fine art in Hull and he had this I loved his studio space that he had
yeah.
at Hull Uni. But it is true, like once you leave and then he was like using like his mum's like conservatory for a little bit as just like somewhere to just store the art that like he wanted to keep. And he used to make these huge like canvases of
Yeah.
like huge paintings on like massive canvases. And it's like, actually, like how am I gonna get a space that's big enough for me to make the art that I want to create? There's this whole thing there about how much space actually is. If you
Yeah.
want a studio, like it's costly, especially if you want a big space to make big art. It's
Yeah.
really hard to do that. So it's really nice that you found a space that
Yeah,
isn't like
yeah.
a
It's
big
like
like warehouse
I've
kind
been
of
in touch with
situation.
them like a lot beforehand, and like I knew a few of the people up there already before I found a space. And then I mean, for me as well, like yeah, affording it is a challenge. Like making money as a freelancer is definitely very challenging. But like yeah, without it, it'd be incredibly difficult. And yeah, like the scale of the work that happens in there. Like a lot of my paintings are about 2.5 meters high. So like you look at the pictures of them online, but yeah, in reality, like yeah, they're massive. I just finished one on Tuesday, which is like nearly 3 meters long. Like there's a canvas that like so there's Robin who comes along and is like a very active participant in Doodle Chat. And is an artist. He found a canvas on the streets of Hyde Park, which I mean there's another joy of living in Hyde Park. Like you can find stuff, it's just around. Yeah, Robin and his partner, they carried it up to my studio. And yeah, it's great. I just painted it the
So
other day.
good.
I felt the need to paint a massive, like the sausage dog on it is about 6 foot long. It does have duck feet. It is another one of these ones, but it's also called Nuclear Reset. And it has a lot of clouds in the background that could just be yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds cool. I think I saw a picture of it if you
Yeah,
posted it on
yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
Posted it. Yeah, I tried to like work the Instagram algorithm by like having the picture of me crouching in front of it as well, trying to look cool.
Worked, I saw it.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
Reached
yeah. It
my
got like
feed.
loads more likes on it, so I've made it
Yeah.
now.
Talking about the space that you've got,
Yeah,
at the time of us talking, there was recently in the news I saw in Manchester, the Hotspurs press office old building that used to be years, I think like 10 years ago, it just stopped being like an artist space. It's like an old mill building, probably very similar to the one that you
yeah,
have got in Leeds. Manchester is facing like this thing at the moment where these buildings that are so perfect for artists to practice in, or not just artists, like any kind of creative space, are now being taken down and developed for flats. Like I was recently speaking with a curator who's just like opened a really small gallery space inside an industrial warehouse, and inside that is also a space that's similar to assembly where like people
yeah,
artists have it.
Yeah,
And it's already, you can only stay there till the end of the year because it's
yeah,
already being taken down by developers and flats are going to put up there. And these people just getting pushed out of Manchester City and into like the suburbs.
yeah,
I mean, I hope that doesn't start happening in places like Leeds, but obviously Leeds has definitely developed in terms of it being a bigger, they're starting to get more of a skyline, like the bigger
yeah,
buildings
yeah.
and
Like
things
in
like
terms, I
that.
mean, yeah, there's spaces, loads of spaces that are closed, that have gone. The
Lately.
city centre is kind of not an accessible space for, I mean, like, for studios and stuff like that. There's loads of redevelopment going on. Yeah, spaces like Airplay Studios, they kind of relocated out further out into an old mill a little further up the road from Assembly House. Yeah, yeah, there's loads of that going on as well,
So actually, I
which
remember
is
Take It Easy Lab in the workshops near Leeds the train station. Take It Easy, a film developer lab. I remember them saying they've had to change locations because that old building's getting, and it might
yeah,
be for
it's that Air
redevelopment because that
Street
all
workshops.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
So yeah, yeah, I know a few people from there as well. So yeah, the same thing. Like, I mean, it was sold off. It was I think like the council subsidised the rent in there, but then they've sold off the building, which then kind of puts all of that in jeopardy. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of loads of that. It's odd, it's Leeds because we kind of, yeah, like when you go and visit Manchester, you go visit London and other big cities like that. The contemporary commercial galleries that like show the work of local people. Leeds kind of lacks that. There's nothing kind of
Mm.
central that does that. There's all the amazing spaces and studios and organizations that do champion like Leeds-based and local artists. But yeah, it's kind of odd in terms of having actual exhibition space.
Yeah,
That's very
there isn't. I actually can't think of a time I've gone because where we live is a bit of like an in between space, so we're often going to like Leeds or York or Hull or
yeah,
Manchester, just to go and do things. And I actually can't remember the last time I was like, oh, we'll go to Leeds to go to this exhibition that's on in like a contemporary art museum
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that. There actually
Like
isn't.
not the gallery or not the Henry Moore Institute.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
something smaller and more local.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've ever that I can think of done that. It's a shame. I know there's like I know Village Books do have like a small space upstairs
Yeah,
in the arcades, and they sometimes have like they'll show like one person's work, and it's
yeah,
again
yeah,
it's just like a room at the back of the shop. So I'm sure there's like places like that like to do that. But yeah, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
It's a
It should be
strange one,
easier to
Leeds.
find them though, shouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it should be more obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a shame because there's so many artists in Leeds out there, and as you'll know, because you meet all of these super
yeah,
creative people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's like there are people doing amazing stuff, like and like trying to take art to different areas of Leeds as well, which I think is really important. So, like what Airplace have done with the other gallery, the Mill Gallery up in Bramley, is amazing. Like that's another area of Leeds is an area of high deprivation. It's got one of the highest suicide rates in Leeds as well. Like we've been looking at kind of doing some more community focused stuff up there as well. Yeah, they've opened a space there, and I think it's really important, like taking art to other areas of Leeds and kind of making it more accessible. And like the stuff that Basement Arts Project do in Beeston as well, like is amazing. Chris has been running a gallery out of the basement of his terrace house for 14 years now.
I love it.
Like I mention it a lot and I talk to people about it and they're like, what? I've never heard of it. Like you should have heard of it. So we did the pilot of Apocalypse Remix there a couple of summers ago, and he just like gives the space to any artist that is really interested in doing something there, but like really champions local artists and especially artists that have got kind of an interesting community engagement and in engaging in the community of South Leeds, which is very neglected. It is an area of high deprivation again. Yeah, so there's spaces again. Like you can't just kind of wander around and find them. You need to like really search for them.
Well,
And
yeah,
it'd be nice
it's literally
if
someone's basement. Like you really have to look for that.
we could just use some of the empty shop units in town.
You would think. You
Yeah,
would think that
yeah,
would be great.
but nah, that's not commercially viable, so no one cares about that. We
Exactly. It's
did
kind of
one
the same in Hull.
like just post lockdown. So me and a bunch of artists just took over an empty shop unit for 2 weeks. It was in the card exchange. It's like when you could still do things like that. Like now, no one's really interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, we had that gallery space, like not a gallery space, a shop for 2 weeks. But all the artists just turned up on like the day before. We just put all our work up. There was no curation. There was no submission process. I'm very keen on avoiding all of that and all of the awful kind of way that the art world works and kind of making it so anyone can be involved in it. And it was great. And like over the 2 weeks, people just kept adding to it. Like if somebody sold a piece of work, that was great. We just filled the
Yeah.
space again. Like people came in and did like art in there. Like it became a real hub for a couple of weeks and then yeah, gone. But again, that was all like no one got paid for it. Like we
Well,
just
yeah.
it's all DIY stuff again.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I like that way, but at the same time, like, I still need to eat and pay rent.
Yeah. Oh, it is so difficult though to be a working artist.
Yeah,
What would you see? So this podcast is called Have You Made It? So we've talked a lot
yeah,
about you
yeah.
making things and the way that you physically make things and what you've made in your community space. But what's your concept of making it as a community artist? I feel like you are because you're doing so much for your community. You're doing so much, but it'd be so good to know your concept of it.
Yeah, I was thinking on this question earlier because, yeah, for me, like, I make art most days and I encourage other people to make art. And for me, like, that's it. Like, I've made it. That's fine. Like, this is what I do. And it's really nice. Yeah, like, I don't think kind of anything more than that. I have difficulty with kind of with the grading and the competitive element of art and like pitting artists against each other in open calls and yeah, art competitions and stuff like that. I don't like any of that. I don't like kind of I mean for some reason I was looking at open calls this morning and just looking at how many of them you have to pay for just to apply. But like there's loads for like emerging artists and like there's this question in my mind, it's like what are you emerging from and emerging into? So like the question of kind of made it for me again is like there's no measure on that other than do I spend my time being creative and facilitating other people's creativity? That for me is like I've made it. It doesn't need to be kind of anything more.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great, it's a great concept of making it. If you get to make art every day, then you've made it,
Yeah, yeah,
essentially.
definitely. Like for me, like the value of it is that in the process, I put all the value in kind of the making of it, in kind of the taking the space and the time to do something creative. I think that is where
Mm.
its worth is. When we do doodle chat exhibitions, so we've done one, and we'll do another one soon. Like everyone's work gets displayed. So there's the professional artists that come, there's the people that have been coming since the beginning and just doing it as a hobby, there's the people that come and do the colouring books. Everything gets displayed because all of it has the same worth and the same value in my mind as like people have made it and people have put like time and effort, but also like there's so much more goes into it. There's their emotion, there's like the whole kind of shared like experience within the community and stuff like that. All that feeds into it. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's very wholesome, actually, Edek.
It is very wholesome. I still want people like give me money for art. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I don't give my paintings away for free at the same time. But
Well, no, but that's the thing, though. There's this whole thing, isn't there, about value of art? Like, you should be able
uh,
to. This is a whole thing. And again, I was speaking with another artist
yeah,
about this and about what people can charge for art. You can charge whatever you want. Like, it's the amount of time and effort that goes into
yeah,
it, the
yeah.
materials that go into it, like, and people will buy it and see value in it, like, no matter what,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
like yeah, the value is I mean, in terms of kind of monetary value, yeah, it's kind of what someone is willing to pay for a piece as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a really easy way of kind of taking all the thought out of that as well, and it's just like look at Artists Union England rates of pay and use them. Because like so many
Okay.
people come to me and they're like, I don't know how much to charge for this work. And I'm like, I don't know. How long did it take you? How much did you spend on materials? Here you go, use these rates.
Yeah.
Um,
There is a calculation then that people can
Yeah,
use.
yeah. But I also like just swapping art. Like I'd rather live in a society that like wasn't dependent on money. I find money abhorrent. I hate it. Like it's a horrible thing. Like it drives people to so much kind of cruelty and unkindness, and like the constant clamoring for it is kind of in my mind the absolute death of creativity. The need, why do we have to pursue it constantly? Why are we made to kind of live in, this very open prison that we're in where, yeah, like money is what defines us and defines our worth. So yeah, like I'm well up for like swapping art for stuff and art. I have quite a few tattoos that I paid for with paintings.
I was
So
going to say, yeah, that's a good swap.
tattoo artists, yeah. Get involved.
I love that. That's a great form of payment, getting a new tattoo. So we'll probably be chatting for about an hour now, which I really could chat more to you. I don't know if there's anything else that we haven't covered.
I think if people want to know more about kind of like the story of Doodle Chat, a lot of people ask me about that. Come to a session, I'll tell you. But like you can read there's an interview that I did with the amazing writers and photographers projecting grief, which I think is another thing that people should read. And I talk about why I started Doodle Chat there.
You can share anything with us that you've wrote about before or spoken to people about before, and we can share it.
Yeah,
We'll put it with
I'm
the
going to
podcast.
send you the list of all the people I've mentioned.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I've said a few names now.
You have, but yeah.
I know when we did the Natter as well, I sent you a list of like about 15 people to talk to.
You did.
I've mentioned more just in this conversation now. So.
Yeah. So to round up the episode then, let's talk about your Northern shout-outs.
Yeah, I think what's in my mind today, partly because I saw Bruce yesterday at something as well, Basement Arts Project. Definitely, people go and look them up, talk to them, go and see the exhibitions in a basement, in a house in Beeston. It's not as scary as it sounds. Like, other people I've mentioned kind of throughout this, Assembly House, just because of like the community, the support. Left Bank, again, like they foster and nurture community in Hyde Park. The High Rise Project for the incredible work that they do making art, and especially like digital art accessible to everybody, other people. There's so many more, isn't there?
I mean, thank you for those shout-outs. I know you've got loads more.
For now. That'll do for now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing them. And how can people get in touch with you about Doodle Chat or anything else?
Yeah, so I mean, at the minute, Doodle Chat and my own artwork kind of exist on Instagram only. I have paid for the website domains for both, but it takes time and learning and stuff to develop a website. I'm just not interested in it. That's the difficulty with most of the things. Like, there's so much of it that's boring and I don't care about. But yeah, look me up, Edek Thompson on Instagram and Edek's Doodle Chat on Instagram. Yeah, that's how you can find out about what I'm doing, where I'm at. And I respond to messages generally. So, like, if you're interested, just drop me a message.
Yeah, I'm sure people will. Yeah. I'm sure I do. You reply to me pretty quick. Thank you so much, Edek. I've had so much fun talking to you. It's been amazing learning about Doodle Chat and all of the other things that you do for your community. I think you're very inspiring people, and I think a lot of people will listen to this. All of your community members and all the people at Doodle Chat will be listening, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm sure they will. Correct me on all the things that I've got wrong. It's great.
Yeah.
No boundaries.
Yeah. Honestly, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. But yeah, I'm sure we'll chat again very soon. Thank you.
Definitely. I've had a lot of fun. So thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me questions and making me talk about stuff. It's good.
Thanks so much. We'll chat soon. Bye.
Pleasure. See you soon.
Hello, it's me again. Thank you so much for listening to episode 6 of Have You Made It with Edek Thompson. I would definitely recommend giving Edek's Instagram a follow and checking out all of the great work that he is doing and what his peers are doing in Leeds. I just thought that was so interesting, and Leeds is a really interesting city, I think. It's not big like Manchester, but there's so many artists there and creative people there. And it's just about, I think, finding the art, finding the communities and being a part of communities that aren't alienating or, that are really welcoming and that it exists in Leeds. It's definitely a place where you could live and feel very creative. But that was a great conversation. I absolutely loved it. And also, like I said at the beginning of the episode, that is the last episode for now. We've been uploading these every 2 or 3 weeks. So to be fair, I actually think there might not even be a pause by the time this is uploaded. But I am having a little pause from recording and picking this back up in September. So if you would like to be on the podcast, and you don't have to be somebody who is, putting on events or organising things for your community or even has like loads of followers on Instagram, like you can be an artist of any kind and you will have a story to tell that people will find interesting. I think that's what has been the most interesting thing about the Have You Made It podcast so far and Up North so far, is that like we've barely even scratched the surface of what it means to be a creative in the North. There's been a lot of similar themes throughout all of the episodes, but there's just so many people to talk to. So if you are waiting for a response from me or co-founder Ellis, we'll get back to you as soon as we can, and we would love to have you on the podcast. So like I said, you can email us at hello@upnorth.co.uk or give us a message on Instagram. I just had to switch positions slightly because I don't know what was going on, but the more I was staring at the screen, I realised my shoulders looked crazy. If anyone's watching the video version of this podcast, what was going on with my shoulders in that outro? Anyway, I'm here to say that Have You Made It is brought to you by Up North, where we are connecting creatives of the North. You can follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram to get all of your updates. You can also check out our website, upnorth.co.uk, where you can read interviews and conversations with more Northern creatives who are making stuff happen in the North. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.